This episode of Finding Demo Surf Fishing is being brought to you by DS Custom Tackle. Check it out. DSCustomTackle.com is a great webpage to go take a look at to get your hands on rigs, floats, beads, hooks, you name it. They got you covered. And also, Pompin' Ain't Easy. It's a whole new fun brand to be taking a look through them. So they're doing really cool, fun things. Take a look. DSCustomTackle.com. Here we go. Let's get into the show because this one's going to be a good one. Hello. Been a while since you've heard my voice in your ears, huh? Yeah, it's been a while for me too. And it's nice to be back with you guys. It truly is. I have definitely been, I don't know, doing things, I guess is the best way to say it. I am recording this from my new home. If you haven't been following me on social, hello from Virginia. We now live up in Norfolk, Virginia area, and this is the new game. So got a whole bunch of new stuff coming with this. Man, I don't even know where to begin. I've already been fishing a couple times to take a look at some stuff, and it is a different fishery than Florida, and I am excited to build the Finding Demo empire up here. We're just moving the flag up a little bit. So I hope you'll still continue to take a look because we've got a lot of fun things that I'm hoping to accomplish. And if I can accomplish them, well, let's just say the sky's the limit. Because if a podcast can move locations and continue on, then we're good there. So, but I do owe you some explanations on some stuff before we kick into the show today, because as you saw the title, taxes on taxes on taxes, this one's going to be an interesting one. So, yeah, I have been extremely busy in my regular life. I will admit, hey, yeah, when I started this podcast, I wasn't working 50 hours a week. I had my own business. I was taking my own time. I could do whatever I wanted. And unfortunately, with the way the world works, that just don't work all the time. So that or I'm just not really good at my own business, which is more than likely the case. We'll just go with that. But yeah, so I'm gotten back into work, and when I was working at the other job, I was back in aviation. I was working nights, so that cut into it. And yeah, nothing but reasons or no reasons, just excuses for why I haven't brought you an episode. So thankfully, I'm getting better about that, and hopefully I'll continue because I really want to. I really want to keep this going. I still have a ton of people to talk to on my list that I need to reach back out to. I just need to get this back on the gear. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's get into this week's episode because it's been on. I mean, I told you about it months ago, probably close to a year ago, actually, and now it feels a little bit more fitting to talk about given the certain circumstances of the world. So, this week we're going to talk about fishing excise tax in the United States. And you may know about it, you might not. It's not something I really knew about until I started having conversations with rig makers and Matt Poole from Ninja Tackle is a great example. Matt told me about it, and I was like, "Man, this just sounds crazy. What do you mean there's an excise tax?" So he basically gave me a quick overview, and I said, "All right, let me do some homework on this because I really want to understand it." And I did it, and yeah, um, it hurts. Not only for us as the angler, it hurts the small business. However, what I did find was that the excise tax is actually utilized in a way that benefits us. So I have a hard time being anti this tax. Um, I mean, I'm not a fan of taxes, period. But hey, when a tax is used in the proper way and vetted in the proper way and does what it says it's going to do, I have a tendency to be a little bit more on the okay, all right, you have my attention. So let's get into this. So sorry about my throat there. Learn a new air. I don't know what to tell you. So, the Fishing Excise Tax is part of the Federal Aid in Sports Fishing Restoration Act, also known as the Dingle Johnson Act. Passed in 1950, this legislation creates a special tax on fishing equipment and motorboat fuels aimed at funding conservation and restoration projects for sport fish habitats. The tax is a federal excise tax that applies to a varied of recreational fishing gear. It's similar to the Pittman Robertson Act, which funds wildlife restoration efforts through a tax on firearms and ammunition. The fishing excise tax was designed to directly benefit fish populations, waterway access, and public recreational fishing. I mean, on the surface, dude, oh, that looks awesome. I mean, it sounds great. So it's all this goes together and it comes back for us to give us access, helps with the funding of fishing, helps with all these pieces of getting what we'll call it trout restock, that when you hear about a lot of restocking of ponds, or maybe where even you can go into I know in Alabama we've got the redfish tributaries and we got the farms right there that help with that. That comes from this. It's not something that you hear a lot about, especially if you're not in the area for it. So if you are in Paducah, Kentucky, you might have a piece of this for restocking some of your rainbow trout. Whereas us in, Florida, in that area, it's completely different. The little pockets that it's utilized are probably well known. Now, the people that really know about this, or should really know about this, are people that are in the game. So, how does the tax work? It's imposed on manufacturers, producers, and importers of specific fishing gear and equipment. Tax includes a 10% tax on most recreational fishing equipment like rods, reels, lines, and lures. That also falls into your floats category. Yeah, so your rig makers that are in the game and selling, yeah, they got to pay the excise tax. Yeah, there's no getting around that one. So, for lack of better terms here, do you think Uncle Sam will look the other way when it comes to not getting his piece of the pie? I've never heard of him just think, "Oh, that's cool, bro. Just keep that money. It's fine. It's fine." Uncle Sam wants his, man. And on the same note, that tax that comes in with this excise, if you're a maker of lures, floats, I mean, the rig makers are the ones that, like, I look at and go, God, man, you're paying a 10% tax just to make your rigs. That's it. You have it, and to sell them right there, that's a 10% tax right off the top. We're not even talking the tariffs. Not even, we haven't even touched that topic. Oh man. Add that in because the majority of the stuff we've talked to many rig makers, they've told you they get their floats from China overseas. Okay, so now there you go. That's on top of. So if you've got the import tax right there just on a tariff, and now we have this 10% tax on top of that, how much does it cost now to really make a rig? Yeah. That also kind of goes for you as the individual angler. If you're just like me, you like to make your own rigs. Guess what? We're getting our floats. If we're getting them from overseas, yeah, we're paying the excise tax. We're paying, or I'm sorry, we're paying the tariff tax on it. Everything just got more expensive, right? Here's the big difference, though. This excise tax, the fishing excise tax, goes back into what we love. It goes back into fishing. It goes back into access to the water. It goes back into restocking these fish. It goes back into uh, habitats, creating a long living, breathing availability for us to have our great grandkids fish. How is that bad? I mean, granted, I'm looking at myself here, so I can basically rhetorically ask this. But how's that bad? By all means, but send me a message and tell me how it's bad. I'd love to hear it because you guys know I believe in conservation. I do because I do believe that these are the resources we have available. And hell, I want to fish. I want to fish forever. Come the zombie apocalypse, man, a different story. It's over there, but hell, let's make sure it's good until we get to the zombie apocalypse. At least let's make sure we got something to eat for the few weeks that we're there. Man, another piece of these taxes, you're looking at 3% on electric trolling motors. Again, that's money. And we all know trolling motors ain't cheap, but there's another 3%. Where do you think that excise tax goes, by the way? Who do you think pays that? Yeah, the maker. Who's going to charge you for it to make sure they're making their bottom dollar? Maybe. I wouldn't blame them, especially the small business companies. I wouldn't blame them at all. I don't like paying extra. God, I really don't. But I also get it. I get the business piece. Think about DS Custom. They're sponsoring this episode, so it's really easy for me to bring it up. If they're making all these floats and rigs, because that's their business, that is their primary income, that is their primary builder. If they're building this and that is how they make their money, you have to follow the regular old pattern of, I don't know what their margins are, but I'm going to throw this out there. Call it a 300% markup. 100% means you're breaking even, right? Because you bought it, you got yours, and there. 200% means you can buy one more set of floats. You can buy that one, you paid that one, now you can buy one more set for later. 300% means you can break even, buy one, and you can pay yourself. That goes with anything. Anything. Anything you're buying is more than likely a 300% markup. How else are they going to pay the bills? And me personally, I got nothing against big companies. Love them to death. I mean, you guys know Shimano reels. I use them. Penn. I have plenty of fishing gear that is big name companies. Yeah, they got to make their money, right? Of course, the ongoing joke is, well, the CEO's got to pay for that third boat. Another reason to shop small, right? The small businesses are the ones taking the shot, but all that money right there, you start looking at the big picture, it all starts adding up. And maybe from our side, we don't look at it that way. I'm just buying floats, man. I'm not worried about that. You're right. You're buying floats. You're buying fishing line. That counts. You're buying hooks. That counts. You're buying swivels. That counts. You're buying sinkers. That counts. Everything in our game, it's got the excise tax upon it. That's the fishing part of it. There's no getting around it. I spoke with Chip, the sinker guy, about it. He's told me the same thing. He's like, yeah, I got to pay the excise tax. I have to. That's part of the game. I have no choice. Anything that he's doing, he's got to pay the tax man. So all my sponsors will tell you they have to pay it. So let's talk Fish Bites. You guys know that Fish Bites, I am on their pro staff. I get baits. I happily use them. I absolutely love their stuff. You guys know this. There's no denying that. I don't just tell you I use it because I'm on their team. I tell you I use it because damn well you know I use it. You've seen it in my pictures. They have to pay the excise tax. Yeah. Bait makers pay too. The fishing industry. It just depends on what the marker is that it comes from, of how it works. So there's those pieces there. Additionally, there's also an excise tax on motorboat fuel, which supports boating safety and conservation. Again, how is that bad? It hurts us. Yes, I get you. I hear you. I hear you screaming. It hurts me. It does. We're the users. We're the end users. Absolutely. But what happens when you can't use it? What happens when it's gone? Now it hurts you, right? Part of it. It's just that one. So if you guys want to proof source me on this one, you are absolutely welcome to. A quick one, I believe I can post it, but you're looking at www.irs.gov/publications, and then US 2021 public 1000178811. Yeah, I pulled this right from the IRS. So there you go. I'm not going to tell you to go look it up, though. You absolutely should. So with the funds that come in, the money gets really brought in, and it's funneled into the sport fish restoration and boating trust fund. The fund is then distributed to the state fish and wildlife agencies to support the habitat restoration, conservation efforts for sport fishing species, public access improvements such as boat ramps and docks, fish stocking programs, and aquatic education and outreach programs. All things that we are a part of every time we get out there to go fish. This is all in our wheelhouse. This is all in our box. So you're paying for your program. You're paying for your sport. We are funneling it into ourselves. We are self-sufficient. An ongoing joke in the military used to be, yeah, we pay taxes. We just repay our salary. It's it's a circle, right? It all comes back into those. So if you're up in arms about that and the crazy, I get it. I get it. The tax. We don't like taxes. But when it again, I say it again, when a tax works in the benefit of us, why would you not want it? Why? Dare I say, if you're complaining about this, you're probably also the same one complaining about limits on fish. If that shoe fits, lace that boot up and wear the hell out of it. Please do. Because I believe in limits. I wear that boot. I've die on that hill. You guys have heard me. I'm on a public platform right here. I can get completely roasted for saying that I believe in something that somebody else doesn't believe in. And die on your hill, I'll die on mine. I don't care. Have a great day. But that's all part of this. Now we can have a discussion. I would love to hear why it doesn't benefit us. I would love to change my mind. I'll engage in a conversation all day. Won't be a debate. I'll listen. And if I disagree with you, I'll say I disagree, but I can also explain why I disagree. And maybe we can come to an understanding as to why I disagree. And maybe you'll tell me something that I missed. And maybe, just maybe, we'll both learn something. I know it's scary. Scary. We can't have these things now. Conversations like this are just faux pas. We don't do that anymore. Each year, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services redistributes the money collected to states based on a formula that factors in the state's land and water area and the number of paid fishing license holders. Ooh, another tax, the fishing license. How dare we pay for a fishing license? Oh, wait. Get money back for having more people on a fishing license. More people that are out there fishing. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to leave that alone. I don't think I need to beat that horse up, not even a little. Okay. This massive financial resource for the states to maintain maintain healthy fisheries, provide fishing access, and ensure the future of the sport as we love it. Proof source for this: the U.S. Department of Interior press release, and Secretary Hand announces nearly $1 billion conservation funding generated excise tax. $1 billion. That was a while ago, by the way. The Department of the Interior publishes annual data on how much money these excise taxes bring in. They're not hiding it, much to, the normal one we always complain about is, where's the money? Show me the money. Show me where it went. Proof. God forbid we find the proof. On the same note, you can conspiracy theory it all day. Oh, they're just putting that on there. All right. Well, yeah. California doesn't put their stuff up on certain things. Not to call you out there, Cali. I remember when you threw that dollar on the gas tax. I remember that money was supposed to go to highways. I remember that money was supposed to go places. And then it disappeared. That's about as far as in the politics I'm going. Yes, I am salty about that. When I was stationed out in Cali for my career, I unfortunately had to pay attention to some of that stuff. I will say Cali does very good though with their fishing fund. They've done really, really good things. So there is that. So why should anglers care about this tax? And again, I'm reading from my notes here. So if you see me and you hear a change, that's why I'm doing my best here with what I got. If you love fishing, you're directly benefiting from the program funded by this tax. Every time you buy a rod, reel, or lure, or a portion of that goes towards projects that improve water quality, restore habitats, and ensure public access to fishing spots. Your contributions help boat ramps. So we have easy access to lakes, rivers, and coastal areas. We do love boat ramps. Fish hatcheries. Hey, remember what I talked about? Yeah, a little while ago, right? Which keep populations of sport fish like trout and bass healthy. Yeah, that's freshwater, but hey, redfish. We love catching red drum, man. It's a staple in the Gulf Coast, up and down the West or East Coast. Hell, catching a red drum, that's always the best. We all love catching reds. That matters right there. Habitat restoration, ensuring that aquatic ecosystems remain healthy and fish populations thrive. Huge win right there. And I had that great conversation in another podcast episode. Gosh, it was forever ago when I had the captain on. He was fishing live with it too, so it was great. But we basically sat there and talked about this exact thing. And then we have other organizations that are really involved with this stuff. ASA. A lot of people will poo-poo ASA for their money thing, but they're also one of the biggest voices about this stuff. They care about it as well. And they have to pay their CEO millions of dollars. But it all comes back to that one. There are a lot of organizations that are jumping into this. So while no one does love paying their taxes, this is one making an actual impact on our sport and for the environment. Proof source for this one, for that little bit there, you can go to ASA, and that one's in there talking about advocacy and the restorations. So how the tax benefits conservation and fishing communities. Now, this one, you can get into the muddy water of it, but I do think that when you start talking conservation pieces, this is where people start getting their noses up and a little bit of the poo-poo side, mostly because this is where the question can really get funky. So it's been 20 minutes. Let's check that bait first. That's right. It's the first bait check this year. Yay! Here it comes. Man, it's weird looking at myself like that. By the way, I've gotten a little skinnier, so maybe I'll have to redo that, make myself feel a little bit better. This bait check, make sure you brought it in. Check it out, that bait. If it's been in there, it's too long, nothing will bite, move. Switch it up. Maybe you need to go a different range. Switch up your bait, never a bad thing. And if you've been there a while and you don't trust the spot, move down the beach. Just leapfrog the rods. That's going to be a great thing to do. This bait check's being brought to you by Ninja Tackle. Ninja Tackle VA. God, you guys know I love them. Ninja Tackle rods. I love my 12-footer. I love my 9-footer. I love my 8-footer. I love my 7-footer. I love all my rods with Ninja Tackle. You can't go wrong at all with that gear. I can't complain. Great customer service. Matt's a great dude. If you need rigs, he's got a lot of that set in there too. And he's got you covered on the tactical side. I will have something in another episode that shows you that. I'm excited. But that just, for another day. NinjaTackleVA.com. Go take a look. Great stuff. You will not be sorry. All right. So my idea of conservation is that the habitat can maintain itself constantly. It recycles. If there's 100 fish caught, I hope that 100 were born. 100 more were born, or 200. Let them get through. Let that ecosystem thrive. If the ecosystem is thriving, then it's going to maintain and continue. Again, it goes into fishing and hunting limits. All these things are limits. Things are for that for us to enjoy, right? If an area gets destroyed and it needs to be rebuilt, I get it. It sucks because it's your honey spot. There's nothing worse than losing those. Or if a spill happens and you lose all that area there, now what? It's absolutely the same thing it was. It's completely decimated. It's got to get rebuilt. That takes money. That takes time. Mother Nature can help, but sometimes she needs a little human hand to help her along the way, right? This is part of that. So the excise tax supports critical conservation efforts, and the project funded by this tax helps restore wetlands and coastal habitats, and that are critical for fish breeding and feeding. I don't even think I need to beat that nail at all. That says itself. Combat invasive species that can harm native fish populations. You've heard, and down in Florida, the lionfish, people are like, oh my gosh, they're killing so many. That's an invasive species. And that population is doing just fine. They're okay. It's not eradication, it's maintaining. The same thing could be said for hunting. If the hunting grounds are being taken over by an invasive species and killing off an entire population of deer, probably need to do something about that. Same. Improve the water quality, ensuring clean and sustainable aquatic environments. Additionally, it funds educational programs that teach future generations about responsible fishing practices and conservation efforts. Kind of like there's a certain organization that you guys know I love, Kids Can Fish Foundation, teaching kids that exact thing about the sport, conservation, and the love of this. God, man, it's weird how everything ties together, isn't it? It's almost like it's supposed to. So strange. But this tax helps with that. So with FWC, you could call that the Catch a Florida memory program. That is part of it, but they've also do a lot of other classes and other things that go with that. You can go in and talk to them about these things, and you can go look on their website and find classes. Virginia, up here, we have the exact same thing. I've looked it up. There are classes that I plan on attending. There are things that I plan on going to learn about this area because I want to learn it to get an advantage. I want to know about the wetlands because of my kayak. I'm going to go in there. I'm a little bit further inland now, so I've got access to the rivers in a very, very nice way that I'm going to have a lot of fun with. That's going to be important for me to understand. Same with the beach, the Chesapeake Bay. Oh man, Chesapeake Bay is a whole interesting ball game that I didn't realize. Conservation efforts are huge through that. Absolute monsters. Start talking about striper. Oh man, cobias. Yeah, we got them. We got everything here, but there is a lot of discussion about what fish you can take, not take, how to take care of it, how to send it back, all those pieces. And that education is also given in through the state, through this fund. There's money that pays for it. So if you want to look up that one, Congressional Sportsman Foundation published policies, federal sport and fishing restoration, talks about it in there. And you can also read more about how the tax impacts fisheries management and conservation through the Congressional Sportsman Foundation. Oh, pretty big pieces. All right. So we've nailed into what the tax is, how it does, and there's some other pieces to this. And I got a lot of notes, so we're nowhere near done. Sorry. Not sorry. Plus, you guys have missed me. Admit it. The sound of me is soothing you in your drive. Yes. Yes. Drive on. All right, maybe not. So with the fund, I like this. I do. I normally don't want to say that it's good. So let's back it up a little bit and let's talk about the industry excise tax and who it's paid by. So it's primarily paid by manufacturers, producers, and importers of fishing gear and equipment, not the consumers directly. And here how it works. Manufacturers of fishing rods, reels, lures, lines, and other tackle required to pay the excise tax on the equipment they produce. Importers who bring fishing gear into the U.S. from other countries are also responsible for paying the excise tax. Producers of specialized equipment such as trolling motors and fish finders are taxed at a lower rate. Although consumers don't directly pay the tax at checkout, these costs are often passed down to them through the price of production. This tax is then collected by the government and funneled into the Sport Fishing Restoration and Boating Trust Fund to support conservation and fishing related projects. So while the tax is paid by the manufacturer and importers, anglers indirectly contribute by purchasing the taxed equipment. That's a little bit better explanation than where we were in the beginning. I can't really think of a better way to explain it. So if you are a rig maker, again, if you are in this game, you're paying that tax. And if you're not, you're going to get your pee-pee slapped. And it's probably not going to be a light one. You're going to pay because this is part of the this is part of the plan, man. This is just where the tax goes. And if you know you're not paying this tax, my question is this: why? Is it because it's the bottom dollar? Sure, I can buy into that. I don't agree with you, but yeah, I can buy into that. But everyone else is doing it, and I've talked to Salty from Salty's Pompano Rigs. He does it. I've talked with James from Frisky Fins. He does it. I've talked with Matt from Ninja Tackle. He's in on it. Chip, I talked about that. He's in on it. They're all paying it. So if they're all paying it and you're not paying it, why are you screwing over the other companies thinking that you're getting ahead? What makes you so damn special that you don't have to pay it? I'm all ears, man. I pay taxes. I have no choice, right? I mean, I'd love to say, oh, I'm broken or something of that nature. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean jack crap. Taxes are supposed to go the way they're supposed to go. And this one directly funds into us, into our fishing world. Why wouldn't you do it? I can't understand it. So, man, how hard do I beat this horse? I think I beat it pretty well. I don't know much further I can beat it. I mean, we just without repeating myself. So let's talk about the Sport Fishing Restoration and Boat Trust Fund. It's a federal fund created to support conservation, boating, safety, and fishing access across the U.S. The trust fund pools together revenue from the fishing excise tax as well as taxes on motorboat fuels and redistributes that money to state agencies for various fishing and boating projects. So pretty much the exact same thing, right? All right. So the other piece that I really got into here, let me see. I'm looking forward to my notes. I'm sorry, I highlighted this and I gotta find it. Um, Misuse. And that was something that I really, my non-trusting ass really brought into the game. Um, but here in 2022, the fund generated over $700 million for fishing conservation, recreational boating safety, and public access projects across the U.S. The amount distributed to each state depends on the factors, like we said, and all those ones there with my fun little piece there of Department of Interior gave me up that one. And misuse. Here we go. So there have been instances where the excise tax funds were not used as intended or were poorly managed by state agencies. Mismanagement can lead to wasted resources and failed conservation projects, undermining the goal of the act, of the Dingell-Johnson Act. So has it happened? Yes. Yes, it has. Absolutely crap, right? Absolute bullshit. It happens. And when it's caught, and it's normally caught by us, the people involved in fishing, they call it out and whistle blow it. Dime them out, get it fixed. So I did not bring this up earlier, and I apologize. So let's talk about some examples from the excise tax of how it was actually used. I'm going to give you proof sources here, and that way you know, like, oh, okay, this was real. But before we do that, it's only been 31 minutes just to end. And if you haven't caught yet, you should move. But I'm going to knock out another one because, I just really want to. Speaking of the Kids Can Fish Foundation, that's right. Let's talk about them. Kidscanfish.net, great program that's out there teaching these kids how to fish, throw cast nets, and learn about this sport. And the foundation takes any dollar that you give and it puts it right back into its camps. 100% back in. Yep, all there. So when these kids go to these camps, they go leave with the gear. I missed the Panhandle one this year, unfortunately. It was so much fun. I saw the great pictures. They did a great job. But all of that money that was generated from that had the kids go home with new rod, reel, line, rigs, sinkers. They were good, and bait. They all went home. The next time they went to the beach with their family and they had all the gear, they had it. They didn't have to go buy it. It was given to them. And that was through your awesome contributions, but also going to the Redfish tournament in St. Simons Island, Georgia. We will be there. I will be there in October. Absolutely. AJ and I will be fishing. We'll probably be very close to Thomas, if not near or next to him. We'll be around there. But I look forward to seeing everybody there. And you can learn all about that by going to kidscanfish.net. Take a look at all the website. You can buy from there. And you can buy from Promar Ahi as well. They do a special cast net that Caroline is on. And some of the proceeds for that go back to the foundation. So huge wins right there. Definitely go take a look. All right, some examples from the tax. Habitat restoration in the Chesapeake Bay. Hey, how fitting. Funds from the excise tax have been used to support large-scale habitat restoration efforts in the bay. Projects funded by the taxes have focused on restoring wetlands, submerged aquatic vegetation, which are critical habitats for species like striper and blue crab, the best bait ever. These efforts have helped improve water quality, increase fish populations, and provide more opportunities for recreational anglers in the region. Boat ramp reconstruction in Florida. Fish stocking programs in Colorado, Texas Gulf boat ramps, and youth fishing programs in California. Yeah, there you go. Those are all there. So let's talk about known mishandlings. I did say that. So there have been, let's see here. I think I got one. Reports of state using funds intended for fish habitat restoration for paying for administrative expenses or unrelated projects. In some cases, these misallocations were discovered during audits, and states were required to repay the misused funds. However, these incidents highlight the importance of oversight and transparency in the administration of the excise tax. Every state has to do it. Look at your state. Look at that one. If you don't know where to go, use Gunny Google. Just pull up excise tax, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. It'll take you down that one. So I talked earlier and I was beating it up about the small businesses. Let's talk about the penalties. So fishing excise tax, a federal tax, and a business that fail to pay it can face significant penalties and include fines, interest on unpaid taxes, and legal action. Small businesses in particular need to be very vigilant about complying with the tax requirements to avoid these penalties. It's essential for companies that manufacture or import fishing gear to stay on top of their tax obligations and ensure that they are in compliance with federal regulations. There is a second line on your taxes for this. It is another piece to that puzzle. So it is harder to follow, but you got to make sure you're doing it. So small businesses pay into the fishing excise tax. All right, here. Taxes collected by the IRS and applies to a wide range of equipment. We've already gone over that. Businesses must calculate tax owed based on the value of the equipment they produce or import and file regular tax returns or report on their sales liabilities. The administrative burden complying with these taxes can be significant, huge, and you got to make sure you do it. Failure to do so result penalties and fines. It's huge. You got to do it. It's well documented and stated how the excise tax can be a bit painful for small business. And when you make or sell a product that sells a couple hundred or thousand pieces, it still gets taxed to the same major corporation that pays you for doing the exact same thing it sells into the millions of pieces. So yeah, DS Custom is fighting the exact same tax as Penn. Fish Bites is paying the exact same thing as Gulp. Ninja Tackle is paying the exact same thing as Penn. We'll go with Penn again. Why not? They make rods. Everybody's got to pay it. It's straight across the board. Yeah. So why do I think it should be in place? Because it does all the things that we want it to do for us. It's a pain in the ass, sure. It's a tax, man. No one loves taxes. No one does. But again, I've said it in the beginning. I'll say it again. If a tax benefits us in a way that helps what we love, then why wouldn't you support it? It's not up for debate or it's on a ballot for voting. There's no me just telling you this is me telling you this. I am not a tax expert. I forgot to open with that. So anything I say about taxes, ensure you speak to a tax representative to make sure that you're in compliance with as needed. There you go. That's the best I got. So this will also be up on findingdemosurfishing.com. It's going to be in my, it'll be in the blog section. God, I can't believe I still call it a blog. I guess I need to since I'm starting over. All that information is in there. And the links will be there as well. Again, if this is, I can understand your thought process with a lot of people being against this because it is a tax. And for those of you that didn't know we were paying it, now you do. And it's nothing that any of us can do about it in that realm because, well, I guess you could write your congressperson and be like, hey, I don't like this, and have it changed or whatever. But again, all these programs go back to benefit us. That's a real hard pill to fight because if it all goes back to us, we're not losing. We're winning by doing it. And I am a fan of wins all day, twice a week. Love it. I absolutely do. So again, if you're in the game, hopefully you're paying this. And if you're not, fix yourself because probably it's not going to end well for you. And if you like this episode, found me to be aggravating as always, don't forget to share it out. Share it out with your other companies that are making it. Maybe you ask them, hey, what's the excise tax or what's the penalty of the excise tax of the things I buy from you? How can I support a small business? How can I do these ones? All those pieces coming together, man. It's one big circle. So it is great to be back here with you. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this as much as I did, but I really did. I thoroughly enjoyed being back with you in your ears. And I hope to bring you more episodes with people. I got a whole list of people, like I said, I got to talk to, and you're going to have episodes with just me. Yeah, that will happen. There is no escaping that. You're stuck with me still. So thanks for listening to Finding Demo Surf Fishing. It's been an absolute pleasure being here with you today. I look forward to talking to you next week. Until then, stay glorious. Get out there and get some fish. I'll see you.